Hi, this is Christian, and welcome back to NFL Updates Express, your weekly dose of NFL news, coming your way the Thanksgiving Day special episode. It's been a while, but welcome back to NFL Updates Express, and we kick off with this game as the Chicago Bears take on the Detroit Lions in this Thanksgiving Day game. Now, for the Chicago Bears, it's been a revival season for them. They haven't made the playoffs since 2010. But this season, if everything goes right, they could see themselves back into the postseason with Mitchell Trubisky. Now, the Lions, I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. They're at 4-6 right now. Still alive, of course, if they go on some sort of a run, but it probably will take about 10 wins to get into the postseason this year, which means for the Lions sitting at 4-6, they'll have to win out. Now, the Bears, they have so many weapons, and if you haven't been following the Bears, well, you should get on their train. They have Tariq Cohen, the 5'6" running back out of the backfield. Jordan Howard, the 6'1" workhorse out of Indiana, who can power the load. Of course, in the receiving game, Trey Burton, the tight end, who was part of the Philly special. And then Mitchell Trubisky can also throw to the outside. Taylor Gabriel, Allen Robinson, and the rookie Anthony Miller. So the Bears' high-octane offense is ready to take flight against a lockdown Detroit Lions defense headlined by Darius Slay. Now the Lions, they're known for their fourth quarter comebacks, and if the Bears keep them in the game for too long, the Lions could steal this one. Now, I fully expect the Bears to be favored in this one, despite coming on the road to Detroit, and the Lions have been playing pretty well the past couple of Thanksgiving Day games, but the Bears are just a better team this year. And in an NFC North division that hasn't really been strong, with the Packers struggling, the Lions struggling. The Vikings have been pretty solid, of course, but they haven't been the team they were in 2017, so the Bears really have to take advantage of a pretty subpar Detroit Lions team, in my opinion. Now, this game will be very interesting. I think it will be kind of close for a while, but ultimately the Bears are the better team, and I fully expect them to grab the win on Thanksgiving Day. In the second Thanksgiving Day game, it's the Washington Redskins as they travel to AT&T Stadium to take on the Dallas Cowboys. Now, it was an unfortunate day for the Redskins on Sunday. Not only did they lose to the Houston Texans by 2, and also watching their division rival, the Dallas Cowboys, gain a game on them in the NFC East chase, but they also lost their starting quarterback, Alex Smith, to a devastating compound fracture, in which he'll definitely be out for the rest of the season. And also in attendance was Joe Theismann, 33 years to the day of his devastating injury, and we see another terrible injury. Alex Smith, who is having a pretty solid season this year, goes down and may have ended the Redskins' hopes. But they still sit with 6 wins and have a chance, especially in the NFC East, which hasn't been that strong. They still are in first place. And they take on a Dallas Cowboys team which has won 2 straight games, and they've looked very, very good. Ezekiel Elliott running the football well, Dak Prescott managing the game, and 2 solid wins for the Cowboys. And who knows, if they win this, they'll have 3 in a row and have a share for first place in the NFC East division. Now, this game, I mean, you would think, hey, the Cowboys have this, but I'm not so sure. The Redskins have a great defense, and Colt McCoy, he hasn't started in a couple of years, but he can manage the game. And, I mean, it really depends on the rushing attacks on both teams. If Ezekiel Elliott runs over the Redskins, then it's going to be a blowout. But if Adrian Peterson can manage the game, and then Josh Doxson can get maybe a couple passes through the secondary of the Cowboys, then who knows, this game could be pretty competitive. And I've been thinking about this game, and I'm tempted to pick the Redskins, but I think the Cowboys at home have been playing extremely well, and I think they'll take the dub on Thanksgiving Day. It's the nightcap in the NFC South battle as the Atlanta Falcons take on the New Orleans Saints. Now, the Falcons have had a disappointing season. They lost to the Browns and then lost to the Cowboys in the last 2 weeks, and probably won't make the playoffs this season. Meanwhile, the New Orleans Saints look like the best team, not even look like, they are the best team in the NFC, and they've dominated opponents in the past couple weeks. It has been an incredible season for Drew Brees and the New Orleans Saints, and The only obstacle, I think, in their way is the Los Angeles Rams en route to the Super Bowl. And they've already beaten them this season, but there's still a lot of football to be played this year. Meanwhile, I think the Falcons, they have the offense to compete with the New Orleans Saints, and you never know in a battle like this. But the Saints' offense has been going up and down the field. They've turned guys like Austin Carr into reliable weapons, Traquan Smith, the rookie, and then, of course, Michael Thomas, who's been the go-to guy, the key cog in their offense. And of course, if nothing works in the passing game, which is pretty unlikely, Alvin Kamara and Mark Ingram can run the show on this Atlanta Falcons defense that has been banged up all season long. I'm not really sure how this game will be competitive. It is Thanksgiving, it is a division rivalry game, so you never know. But I think the Saints ultimately have this game in the bag. It's time for your favorite Thanksgiving Day segment, Airing It Out. And that means a combination that I think will light it up in the passing game on Thanksgiving Day. Now, I'll give you an obvious one that I think will, and then one that you might not think about. So the first obvious one, Drew Brees to Michael Thomas. Of course, that has been the lockdown combination all season long, and I fully expect against the dinged-up Atlanta Falcons defense for Drew Brees and Thomas to take advantage and have a show for the fans in the Superdome. Now, maybe a matchup that you may have not thought about is Kenny Golladay and Matthew Stafford for the Detroit Lions. Now, the Bears' defense has been up and down, but their pass rush is pretty ferocious, so that can always cause issues, especially with Khalil Mack, a ferocious beast, and can disrupt an entire game. But if that doesn't happen, Kenny Golladay could be a huge factor in this game if the Lions hope to upset. Now, Golladay has had 2 impressive weeks leading up to this Thanksgiving Day match. Against the Bears on the 11th, he had 6 receptions for 78 yards and a touchdown, and then following that up with another impressive performance, going for over 100 yards on 8 receptions and a touchdown against the Carolina Panthers. And so Kenny Golladay, he is the clear-cut number 1 receiver at this point, with Marvin Jones dealing with some injuries, and also Golden Tate, as we know, traded to Philadelphia a couple weeks ago. Now, this could be a very interesting game if Golladay goes off. And of course, Kerryon Johnson, who's dealing with injuries, so he might not play. So expect a huge share of targets for Kenny Golladay. Will it be Galladay's holiday? Well, we'll just have to find out and see.